Hey team, today we're going to talk about pronation. You've probably heard this if you're anywhere in the health and fitness industry, and it hopefully is generally accepted as an incredibly important movement or movement pattern. And it's something that has a lot of nuance and detail. So I wanted to put out a slightly longer video to coach you through this, to get the key cues to get right, and we can discuss some of the common errors as well. The devil is really in the detail on this one, so please do pay attention and look out for things, because even if you know all of these cues, then you're still likely to miss some of them, as I do, even if in the demo here. So yeah, let's get straight into it. The first one is staying heel heavy. So for pronation, we're basically simulating walking onto the forward foot. So our mass starts behind the foot and then it slowly drifts on top of the foot. And pronation is only really occurring when our mass is behind our center of balance. So once we get fully on top and start to be in front of the foot, so if my body mass was somewhere around here, then we would start to supinate the foot, it would start stiffening up, and we lose all of those beautiful benefits of the pronation drill. So being heel heavy is number one. The second one is that you cannot do a pronation, you allow a pronation. So this is something that's really hard to get your head around when you think of it as an exercise, in that we're actually just trying to relax as much as possible and allow gravity to do the work here. So I know it sounds like a bit of an oxymoron, a bit counterintuitive, but because it is, you've got to try to relax. So if you need to shake it out, if you need to just, have a deep breath and a big sigh, try to turn off as many muscles as you can whilst staying tall. And then as you move into the pronation, you're going to try and stay relaxed through the foot, through the calf, through the quads, through the whole body. You're not gripping, you're trying to keep your hands relaxed, and then you just glide forwards and allow the muscles to lengthen as you pronate the foot. As soon as you start trying, you start tightening up, you actually block pronation mechanics. One of the main purposes that pronation serves is to lengthen and load all the major movers of the body, and they can only lengthen if they're sufficiently relaxed. As soon as you start trying or you start pushing into the floor, that's a cue for your body to start tightening up, and pushing is a concentric contraction thought. We're trying to fire muscles, whereas actually through pronation, we're just letting gravity do the work. We relax and melt into the floor. So let's have another look here, or a first look, should I say. The other thing about pronation drills is they need to be very slow. When you try and go too fast, things tighten up as well. So this is not in slow motion. I'm actually doing it this slowly. 10 to 20 seconds per rep is not too slow. So you'll see here, I'm trying to stay heel heavy, and annoyingly, this is just below the progress bar. You can see that arch start to flatten to the ground, and then I'm going to come back to the start position. So this teaches us another couple of cues here. The next one is that we are knee first. So let me come back to the standing position. So we start locked out, and I'm imagining somebody's pulling on a string at the front of my knee, and it's just, or a karate chop to the back of my knee crease. That knee bends and everything else just follows as a consequence. So it's just the knee coming forwards and everything else gets dragged along for the ride. The common mistake here is that we try to go forwards with our head, our shoulders, and we're almost doing a split squat. That's not what we want here. We want to definitely sequence the knee to go before the hip, so we get all this beautiful unlocking and we get a nice amount of dorsiflexion, length and load without or before getting all of our weight on top of our foot. So we get a gradual transfer of weight onto this foot, not a 0 to 1, no weight to all of our body weight at once. This is quite jarring for the body. The next one is being stacked. So similar to what I was just saying there, we want head over shoulders over hips for the whole movement as far as we can. I'm not doing a great job of that here, in that my hips are slightly forward of my shoulders. So I've got this little lean back. I would prefer this to the lean forwards that a lot of people have, as the lean forwards gets our weight onto our foot too suddenly, and especially onto our forefoot, which will then trigger tightening up of the foot and the lower leg musculature. We start to get into toe off or supination mechanics when we do that. So stacked is the ideal, and that allows the knee to lead. The next one I want to talk about is eyes to the horizon. So notice I'm looking straight ahead. A lot of people, especially when they're learning the drill, will be looking down to make sure they're doing it right. Unfortunately, this makes you do it wrong. If you're looking down, your weight is going to shift forwards. You're going to load the forefoot more than we want, and again, trigger that supination or stiffening up of the foot and lose those pronation mechanics. So yeah, I know it's hard, but focus on the horizon and just imagine what's going on. Film yourself if you want to check your form, and then come back and revisit it, because as soon as you're looking down, you're going to change your body angle, you're going to change your weight distribution to be much further forwards, and again, we lose the pronation mechanics that we're trying to work on. And finally, the last cue or last key feature I want you to focus on is starting and finishing in this full lockout position. So you can even reverse slightly more than this, so that the hip is slightly behind the foot, but we want to get a full lockout at the start, so we get that unlocking movement to initiate, and then at the end of the movement, when we come back, we also want to get to full lockout, hip slightly behind the foot. Notice how my arch has risen nicely here. Think of this like training full range of motion. We get a lot of the benefits by using the full range, and if we always stay with a soft knee, the muscles are always in tension, the bones are not experiencing the full lockout position that we want, and we don't actually get the benefits of going from full supination into a pronation, so it becomes a partial range of motion. There is a time and a place for that, which we can talk about in another video, but for your average pronation drill, you want to be going from a full lockout and supinated foot into a full pronation, and then back to a full supination, so we get the maximum benefit from the high arch to the flat arch and back to the high arch again. So quick recap, we want to be heel heavy and focus on that pressure going from the back outside corner to the front inside corner of the heel. We don't want the weight to transfer too far forwards into the foot. It's better to stay heel heavy than lose the mass forwards. Secondly, we want to relax. You cannot do a pronation, you allow a pronation. Number 3, we're going knee first. So karate chop behind the knee crease, or string from the front of the knee, pulling the knee forwards. The rest of the body just comes along for the ride. Number 4, we're staying nice and stacked. So head over shoulder over hips, and then we try to maintain that as the knee drags us forwards. Number 5, eyes to the horizon. Do not look down. Try to stay looking straight ahead and trust that you're doing it right. Just focus on the feeling you get through your foot. Film yourself and review it later, rather than trying to look down to see what's going on. Otherwise, you will mess it up. And number 6, let me double check what I put in my notes. My memory is shocking. Full lockout to start and finish. So we want to go from that supinated position into pronation and back into supination every single rep. If I was going to add a 7th, it would be to go super slow, to make sure you're feeling that weight transfer through the heel, because as soon as you go too quickly, it's hard to make sure you're ticking all of those boxes. But if you make sure you hit all of those 6 or 7 cues, your pronation drills will improve drastically, and you'll start to get way more benefits than simply just, an old school flex and extend from the ankle and the knee. But give those a go, guys. Let me know how you get on in the comments. And if you've got any questions, then please fire away as well.